Hello and welcome to this Working Life Now webinar. In this webinar, we will be discussing CV and cover letter. My name is Esa and I work at the University of Helsinki Career Services. In this webinar, we are going to go through three things. First of all, what's the difference between your CV and cover letter? Why do you have to have both when you can say everything in one of them? How to stand out as a professional with your CV, and how to explain your fit in the position in your cover letter. So let's start with the difference. What's the difference between CV and cover letter? First of all, CV, curriculum vitae, has a very strong foundation on the past. So what you have already done, what are your qualifications regarding the position, and yes, your past career. It means a heavy emphasis on your experience, including work, education, if you've done some voluntary work or something, so your achievements, certifications, skills, and so on. So heavily on past and experience, including education, of course. Whereas cover letter more tightly ties you to the position, what you will do in the position. So how well do you fit? How do you suit that position? So it is strongly in the future, your future together with this company in this position, and maybe others later on, especially if it's a trainee position or something, you're not going to do it forever. So maybe it is just a stepping stone for you to start growing within the company. You can discuss all that in your cover letter. So it's about your motivation, which means why is that important for you? Why do you want to work with that topic? You can think of it through why did you start studying what you're studying? Or what do you want to achieve through this? What is the world that you want to be creating with this job? What is the good you want to do in the world when you are working with this company? How it is aligned with your values? And how can your skills, your competencies, how do they help you succeed in that position? So first you have your motivation. Why is it important? And then how can you do what you are aiming to do there? Both these we're going to be seeing in more detail in this webinar. But let's take a quick look on a typical recruitment process. Of course, everyone is different. Each recruiter, everyone has their different processes, but quite commonly, I would say it is something like this. Where do your CV, your cover letter, where do they fit in within the process? And quite often it starts with CV. Quite often the recruiter reads first your CV, goes through it to see if you have the qualifications. For example, a taxi driver has to have a driver's license. So that is a qualification. And if they like what they're seeing in your CV, you qualify for the position, you are clear enough with your professional profile, and they understand who you are, they go through to see your cover letter, which then shows your motivation, your suitability, your thoughts on the position. And if you have made a positive impact on the recruiter, they will invite you for an interview or several. In some cases, where it is often more about how do you fit as a person, Also, your qualifications, your motivation, everything comes back on table in the interview phase of the process, but it is more about your fit. So more than ever, this is the point where you should try to be yourself so you get a position that actually fits you. Not only that you fit the position, it is a two-way street. So if everything goes well on both of you, you like each other, you feel you want the position, and the recruiter also thinks they want you, you might be a fit, and then you will get a contract. And why is this important is that quite often when someone is applying to a position, making their CV and cover letter, they are already thinking of the contract, already thinking way ahead of in the process. So all you need to do with your CV is to show that you have the qualifications so that they will read your cover letter and then to the interview. And next, I will go a bit deeper in the CV. It is not, of course, only about qualifications, but let's see that next in more detail. So how to stand out as a professional with your CV? This is quite often a question in people's mind. How do I stand out? And quite often the answers people have for themselves are also, well, a bit, I don't want to say wrong, but maybe not in point, because they try to stand out with visuals. I'm gonna make a beautiful orange background so they will remember. But they don't hire you because of your beautiful CV. They hire you because they want to hire the professional you are. So concentrate on showing who you are. Help the reader see you through your CV. So the easiest way to do that is by giving glasses through a professional headline. I will show you some examples soon. But once the recruiter has an image you as something, it is easier for them to read everything through that image. And it is something as simple as putting under your name, what are you studying? Neurosciences student. It is a great headline. It is already giving a lot of information for the recruiter to understand your professional profile through that point of view. In your profile text, a brief introduction. You give your career story, future and past, both. In experience, you show what you've done. Education explains well, your education. In skills, you can choose the relevant key competencies relevant regarding the position. And pretty much everything else then supports your professional view or tells something about you. So the point of the CV is to build a clear image of who you are as a professional. So it is not a full career or life story, everything that has happened. No, it is a clear professional profile to understand you as a professional regarding the position you are applying to. So you need to choose what you tell. Not to tell everything, but to choose what to tell. Sometimes experience is the most relevant thing when you are applying to similar positions, what you've done before. But as a student, for example, applying to first positions, entry-level traineeship positions, you might not have any relevant experience. And then maybe your education is the most important part, or maybe your hobbies. If you've done that profession as a hobby for, well, since you were a child, as for example might be in IT or something, maybe in literature, art, all in all, might be such professions where you have a lot of experience outside work. And once you have your profile, your clear professional image set, the information that you want to give, only then you should consider the visuals. Sort of, how do you use visual to support the message you are giving? Again, the most important part is the information. The recruiter might prefer a beautiful, colorful CV, but they will not hire you based on that. They will hire you based on the information you give. And here is how to give that information in a very good way. We're gonna go through some examples on how to make these different sections on your CV to be better. So let's start with a headline here. John Doe's headline in this CV is art director. So you immediately know what you're gonna be expecting here. Hopefully everything, and it should be that everything here in CV is in line with this headline. The other CV here doesn't have a headline at all, which I find it very important to have the headline, because it immediately gives you the sense of who this person is. You don't know from here. You need to go through a little bit more to understand what this person is, who they are as a professional. So the headline should be something more detailed than just a student at the University of Helsinki. It can be soon to graduate master's student in neurosciences. It gives much more information. And then the profile text that we have here, this length is nice. Also, this length is good. You should use such length that is good for your needs, but these are great examples of the length. It can be something like this. I am a second-year master student in theology, specializing in cultural differences across Europe. I aim to contribute my career to understanding and fostering integration within diverse societies. My primary interests include exploring inter-European immigration and cultural adaptation. So this is a very detailed. You might not have these detailed thoughts in your own field. So you can discuss the reasons why you chose these studies, what is interesting to you in the studies. You can discuss what you want to learn next through work. I am looking for a position where I can see in concrete examples how to do this and that. So it can also be something and should have something something related to your future career goals or thoughts. Work experience. If you have relevant work experience, that is very important to show, but it might be that your most important experience is your education or something else. Then you should bring your education first. In this CV, the education is very small. The area, even the area where the education is very small, and it doesn't give much information. Compared to here, there's some more information, so you can explain in your education first if your work experience is not relevant. I'm going to show you some examples next, but in work experience, if you have not so relevant positions, if you are a theology student and you have warehouse experience, you don't have to explain it much. It's good that you have some experience, but you don't have to use, and you shouldn't use that much space. It is enough to say summer job at a warehouse or something like that. You don't have to explain everything in detail. But if you learn something, if there was something that is related to your desired career, then of course you use more space for that. But yeah, as a student recently graduated or soon to graduate, you should explain a little bit more. It is your career defining, probably the most career defining aspect in your CV. So don't hide all the work you've done for 5 or 7 years. Don't hide it behind Master of Arts. No one knows what you've done. So use more space to explain some details, like what is your thesis title, if you have that, or relevant courses, what kind of methods you used in your thesis, which courses gave you the best grades, or whatever works for your benefit. Use that in your CV. Your most important experiences might be from voluntary work, because it is often quite similar to paid work. You might have been a chairperson of an association, which in which you had to do quite a lot, maybe. So if it's relevant, explain that. Skills and languages. Well, languages as part of skills, your IT skills, whatever relevant skills to your field. They might be coding skills, they might be different softwares or procedures in your work, or whatever it is. You can and you should show your skills in more detail. Other things in your CV, remember contact information. They are here and here in these two CVs. Make sure that the phone number is correct. And if you are applying to positions, please answer your phone even if you don't recognize the phone number. Recruiters, too often, they are complaining that people they want to invite to an interview, they don't answer the phone. And the email addresses have typos, so they cannot contact the people they want to interview. So please make sure your contact information is correct. When you don't have a lot of experience, one page should be enough. But if your CV doesn't nicely fit on one page, you can use 2 pages, even 3, even more if you have relevant experience. But often 2 pages should be enough. You can use a photo if you want. You can leave it out if you want. It's totally up to you. You can put your hobbies. If you want, they don't have to be especially related to the position. But if you have hobbies that are similar to the position you are applying to, it is of course good to tell about them. References. I would say to leave out from your CV names and phone numbers and such, but you can explain that you have references, or you can just put that the contact details that you are happy to give them upon request. Next, we're gonna go to see the cover letter. So the cover letter explains your fit. I'm going to go through this in more detail, but you start with a brief introduction. Then you go to explain your key qualifications, so sort of the hard skills and so on, and how those skills are beneficial for the employer to the position you are applying to. Then you go in more detail with your motivation, your suitability for the position, the team, the organization, even the industry, you might explain in more detail. Then who you are as a professional, as a team member, what motivates you, and so on. And then you have a clear conclusion, and some kind of a call to action is also preferable. But let's see all of these in more detail next. So start with a brief introduction. And I'm explaining all this from the Finnish job market point of view, the Finnish culture, where we want to go straight to the point. And this is where you often go wrong if you use an AI model to help you with your cover letter. They will do the opposite to this. It's definitely not straight to the point. So you start with something like this. I am a third-year neuroscience student concentrating on whatever it is. So similar to your profile text in CV, but you go in more detail to introduce your qualifications and motivation regarding the position you're applying to. But you don't go to very much detail yet. You just point out the key aspects of your professional profile. So this is the first paragraph, so a few sentences. You start with a brief introduction. Why should they be interested in you? So nothing like this that AI often tells you to do, that I am so excited to apply to this position, and nothing like that. Straight to point. The next section is your key qualifications from the point of view of the employer, from the point of view of the position. So how do you, well, yeah, how do you fit professionally? So if you have relevant experience, explain it there. All in all, this part a little bit tells the same things as your CV, but more tightly related to the position you're applying to. Explain what you have done that gives you a chance to succeed in this role. It can be from your work experience, it can be from your studies or whatever. But some skills, some touch to the subject matter. So yeah, skills, experience, education, so on. And then why are those skills beneficial for the employer, for the position? And this is 1 or 2 paragraphs long. Next, your motivation. And as a student, if you don't have much experience, this part might be the most important. So you maybe give a little bit more space to this. This can even come before the work experience part, the previous part. So whatever is the most important from your point of view, then you use that. So why are you interested in this work out of all the options? So even if you are applying because you just have to get a job, there are some jobs that you wouldn't do. So why this? Why would you agree to do this? Or why is it your passion to do this, or whatever? And if it's from your own field, why do you want to grow in it? What do you want to become? How does this position help you become that? So how do your goals align with the goals of the organization or the position? How do you grow together with the position? How does your professional growth align with the goals of the position? This might be in a little abstract level, but if you think of your own career goals, when you want to achieve them, it is also very, very beneficial for the organization when you can grow yourself and when you can grow the position. So where are your career thoughts, career goals maybe next, and how does this job help you in that, especially if it's a fixed term traineeship or something? The thought is that you will not be doing it forever anyway. So how does it help you get to where you want to go next? And A good reason is that you are interested in the topic now and you want to learn more. You don't know yet where it takes you, but it's interesting to you now. That is a good enough reason. And this as well, 1 to 2 paragraphs, whatever works better for you, this or experience, you give more space to that. And then you as a person, as a professional, as a team member, a brief explanation. What are you motivated by? How do other people describe you? What kind of environment helps you thrive? And if you have some secret ingredient, especially if you are like changing careers, you might have something, a very strong skill that is not in the heart of the new position, but is something extra. You can explain it here as well. And you should. If you don't have a secret ingredient, it's fine. You can concentrate on your other qualifications and motivation and so on. So 1 paragraph. And in the end, finish with a clear conclusion. Bring up again the key elements, sort of, because of all this and that, I can succeed in this position. So reminder of all the good things you've explained. And something like this works for a call to action. I'm looking forward to discussing our compatibility in more detail over an interview. So it is a balanced discussion of your suitabilities. It is not that you are begging for a job. So nothing like I would be super honored to be accepted as a person to be interviewed. So nothing like that. It is an equal discussion of your fit together. I am looking forward to discussing our compatibility. Okay, thank you for following this brief Working Life Now webinar on how to stand out with a CV and how to explain your fit in your cover letter. Please check out our other webinars and hope this was useful for you. Thank you.